Next week marks 2 years since Massachusetts voters overwhelmingly approved medical marijuana. When it first passed, would-be dispensary owners were seeing green. Now, though, they're seeing red, frustrated by what they call foot-dragging by the state in approving dispensary licenses. In tonight's Focus Report, we look at what's behind the wait and how it's affecting those looking to get into the medical marijuana business. Like in any classroom, there comes a time when a student has a question or two for the teacher.
In the supplies section that you were talking about, how much room is there for the microbial herd?
Huge growth for it.
As you can tell, this is not your typical class. The nearly dozen students here on this Wednesday evening are enrolled in the Northeastern Institute of Cannabis.
The point of this class is not going to make you an expert in every single job.
Located in Natick, the school is training people looking for careers in Massachusetts' new medical marijuana industry. But there's a hitch. 2 years after voters legalized medical marijuana, the first dispensary has yet to open.
A lot of other states have, done this well, and they've put them in place without the issues that we've seen here in Massachusetts.
Mickey Martin is the Northeastern Institute's founder and a longtime marijuana activist. He says around 50 people have signed up for classes, but says the state's delays are discouraging others.
There are people that definitely, are hesitant about, putting forth $1,500 for a program to train themselves when, they're not sure if this is ever going to happen, and they're skeptical that the state will ever get their act together.
The 2012 ballot question approving medical marijuana permitted the state to license up to 35 dispensaries. But so far, only 11 applicants have made it to the final round, an issue Martin argues will create operational challenges.
It's going to put a strain on those companies and those organizations because they have limited space to grow plants. There's only so much medicine that they can produce based on the business model that they put forward.
But the state's Department of Public Health says it's had to dismiss many applicants over issues ranging from inaccurate financial information to fabricated credentials. And State Senator John Keenan, who co-chairs the Senate's Public Health Commission, says the public needs to be patient with DPH.
And they're starting from a faulty law and responsible for the oversight of what looks to be a pretty significant industry. And so they want to just make sure they get it right.
But according to Mickey Martin, the state is just dragging its feet.
Months go by and another month goes by and another month goes by, and they said they were going to have applications for the other counties that aren't covered in October, and now they pushed that back to November. So at some point, where is the harm in not putting a dispensary in place?
DPH says it hopes the first dispensaries will open this winter once the 11 applicants pass the final round, and that there are at least another 5 applicants waiting for approval after that. The State Department of Public Health declined to comment for our story. My next guests are critical of the dispensary licensing process after going through it. Jonathan Herlihy is the president of the Medical Marijuana of Massachusetts, which unsuccessfully applied for 3 dispensary licenses. And Jim Smith served as legal counsel to Good Chemistry of Massachusetts, which also unsuccessfully sought 3 licenses. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
So, starting with you, Jonathan, you were part of that Delahunt group.
Correct.
And I think everybody kind of thought, wow, the fix is in there. It's Bill Delahunt, former congressman, former, DA. What happened there? They claimed that you overstated community support, and they had a whole range of criticisms against your group.
The first piece was that Mr. Delahunt had spoken to Senator Teresa Murray, and he spoke to her about coming to her county, but she wasn't required to be part of the application process. The only people that were required were the town manager, the selectmen, and the Board of Health. And we got approval from the town of Plymouth for a dispensary and a grow facility in Plymouth. And unfortunately, the fact that we disclosed in our application that we had a courtesy meeting with Teresa Murray was the issue that was brought up.
Because the question being, well, they were saying that you were sort of overstating support, and suggesting that she was supporting you when really that wasn't the
case whatsoever.
All right. So Jim, you've had good luck in other parts of the country. You've had dispensaries, and I think in Colorado and some other places, but they contended, in your case, that your applications were riddled with errors, among other things. Business plans were flaky, that kind of thing.
Well, Good Chemistry is based in Colorado now, had grown initially in California, left there because of a lack of any kind of good regulatory regime. In Colorado, they have an excellent regime, and decided to come to Massachusetts, assuming we would do the same. DPH did a good job, Emily, with the regulations initially. It's a good regime. What then happened was the process became very political. The Globe made a big to-do about not only Bill Delahunt, but some others, and the process was taken from DPH and went into the higher-ups in state government. That changed everything. DPH is about health. Medical use of marijuana is about health. The folks that I work with out in Colorado have a wonderful reputation. They know how to make medicine. This is about medicine. They know how to grow from the clone to final usage of the product that helps folks.
But Jim, that's part of what's at dispute here. When we've talked enough about this here, that some people think, it's the camel's nose under the tent, that it's going to help the minority, but really the majority are in this for the fun of it, that they're going to be getting these prescriptions, and that some of the regulations are loose enough that they're going to allow that to happen.
Medical use of marijuana is very different than recreational use of marijuana. The medical use, it really is limited. You'd have to have a prescription.
Which is not hard to obtain.
It's up to a doctor.
Yeah.
You can get prescriptions. The three of us could probably get prescriptions tonight for OxyContin if we'd like. A far more dangerous drug than marijuana will ever be. Yet it's everywhere in the Commonwealth, and that crisis is well documented. Yes, there are many uses for marijuana, but medically, which is our limitations in this state, very, very critical. There are folks who need this medicine, not 10,000, but tens of thousands.
So the other issue, according to published reports in Commonwealth Magazine and others, was that the business plans varied wildly. They were all over the board. That there was no, even though every one of these dispensaries that applied for a license was also in the growing business, because really, let's face it, that's where the money is, but that the business plan was all over the board. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, I mean, most people use the Colorado medical marijuana information that was documented. It was produced by the Department of Revenue out there, and that showed that just over 2% of the population is medical marijuana users. If you look at what for instance, Brookline had $12 million in sales, I think, or close to it, and Newton had 1.5 million proposed sales.
Yeah.
So, everyone was all over the board, because truthfully, no one really knows until it's happened, and no one will know for 3 years.
Let me jump in, Jonathan, because we did in Good Chemistry. We've done this in Colorado. We knew what to expect. So we did not have a flaky business plan. We had a superb business plan. It really would work, and our numbers were really excellent based on our operations in Denver, which is a city the same size as Boston. So we really had a sense of it. A lot of folks took the best guess. But again, it's a brand new industry, and it's hard to know. And the application that DPH put together, as I say, great regulations, we begin to fall apart on the application. We ended up filing 420 pages in response to the application for three different applications. 420 pages. And we're basically a mar and par operation. This is not MGM or Win. This is folks, mar and pa's, doing the best they can with those applications. But our financials were based on our real life world in Colorado.
So in the end, Jonathan, do you think in some ways Bill Delahunt's association hurt you? That it became political and they said that he was part of the issue, part of the problem?
I think that is a possibility, yes.
Not fair, but yes.
And going forward now, you're not totally out of the running. Are you?
No, we're pursuing this in court right now. We had a decision today that was favorable, that the state did not have a right to take away our provisional certificate, and we look upon that as a major victory at this point in time, and hopefully we'll be able to work with the state to come to some resolution.
We're coming back because we make terrific medicine in Colorado. We want to make it here, and we just want that opportunity.
All right. Jim Smith, Jonathan Hurley, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the slow progress toward opening medical marijuana dispensaries isn't just a business issue. In part one of our focus report, we talked with frustrated patients who say medical marijuana is the only effective treatment they've found.
I'm extremely frustrated and I'm disappointed in the governor and those people who seem not interested in pushing this along for the relief of the patients.
See that story and all our reporting on our website. Just visit WGBHnews.org.